Is Jeremiah playing a game or does he really like Huda? Let me know what you think in the comments. Love Island USA episode 5. I didn't watch After Sun because I couldn't find it, but I did watch a few recaps and apparently it was absolute shit anyway. So Huda was talking to Jeremiah about the task and she was saying that when Amaya was kissing him that he wasn't trying to kiss her back or anything. And as I said the last time, it was so awkward. It was literally standing there as if he was being held hostage. Huda says she's still got to pull you for a chat, and last time Amaya said that unless she felt the vibes that he wasn't interested, she was still going to pursue him, when he literally sat down and said, I'm still going to play games with you, but that's it. What more did the guy need to say? Now, the thing is, when she told him that she was a mum, he said something like, oh, we get to the end and win this shit. And I was thinking to myself, is that what this is? Has he just zoned in on one woman and he's just wanting to get to the end and win? And I wasn't really thinking that much about it. But then yesterday I kept seeing all these videos of Ace and Jeremiah, and like Ace looking at him and people saying, oh, like he thinks that he's like a game player or he's not really into her or whatever. I think he is. But the comment about winning and getting to the end, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Orlandria was telling Taylor that Nick kissed Bella up in Soul Ties, and he's like, this is getting messy. So Orlandria realises that her and Taylor don't really talk about their own relationships, and she's kind of wondering where it's going. But later they have a chat, and she says, like, do you think things are developing or whatever? Like, I'm usually a slow burner, and he seems to be quite happy with her. Everything seems to be going fine, even though they're not really getting physical with each other yet. Which is fair enough, because they're like, if we're friends first and then when anything happens it'll be even better. And just because you're in Love Island doesn't mean to say you need to jump into bed with the first person that you meet. This whole time I have thought that Ace and Shelley really liked each other. He's been giving her all the signals, and IOK says he's open and he wants to get to know other people. But they were sitting chatting and she's like, oh, what do you know about me? And he was saying all this stuff. And he's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Ace. And then they were like kind of chatting as if they'd just met. And I thought, the two of them are just going to be paired up and then that's going to be it. They just seem as if they're meant to be together. Ace was speaking to Huda and she was saying, I'm not mad that Amaya pulled Jeremiah for a chat, but I think she's crazy. And Ace was like, we're 4 days in. And fair enough, right? They are only 4 days in, but I do feel as if Huda's coming across as a bit unhinged. And so is Jeremiah to a certain extent. But as we know, when you're in this situation, a day feels like a week because they've got nothing else to do. Ace was interested in Huda originally, and he was saying, oh, like, nobody approached you because they felt as if you weren't approachable. And she says, oh, if they'd have asked me to go for a chat, I would have, and we're not completely closed off. Meanwhile, Jeremiah is talking to Amaya, and he's basically saying, I'm not interested. Like, I'll talk to you to get to know you as a person, but other than that, that's it. And I know, and you know, for a fucking fact, that if he'd have sat there and says, aye, I'd like to get to know you, I'm still open, we wouldn't have a show to watch because Huda would burn the fucking villa to the ground. And okay, she is still open, but it's using those exact words that we know that Jeremiah wouldn't get away with saying. Later, Amaya told Huda that Jeremiah basically says, I'm not interested, I'm good to get to know you and that's it. And she was like, oh, I realised that I probably overreacted. She's only saying that now. She wouldn't be saying that if he showed even the slightest flicker of interest. Amaya's getting to know Austin and they two really seem to be liking each other. He's having the time of his life. He's like, oh, she's got an aura about her. They're meditating, they're carrying on. And I thought, aye, they're probably going to end up together at this point, even though she's just in and she's still getting to know people, but they did have quite good chemistry. Last time Austin and Shelley spoke and they kind of were like, aye, we're just friends, but things can grow for there. So it's not as if they're just friends and that's it, but it doesn't really seem to have the same kind of vibe with Shelley as he does with Amaya. Taylor told Ace that Nick kissed Bella up in Soul Ties, and Ace is like, what the fuck, right? So Nick comes in and he's like, have a seat, what are you doing? What's the game plan here, basically? Like, you're playing these two girls off each other. And I really like Ace, but at the same time, he's got a bit of a cheek, because okay, him and Shelley, they haven't progressed and they've known each other from before or whatever, But he's also kind of keeping doors open for everybody. He's got his finger in all the pies. That being said, I really like him. He seems like a sensible guy. He seems lovely. But just because he's not going about kissing people doesn't mean to say he's not playing with their emotions. The boys were making the breakfast for the girls again. Did the girls ever cook? And they were saying, oh, look, they always look forward to his breakfast because he's a good cook and all that. And I'm like, one of the lasses fucking go down and even make them a fucking bowl of cereal. Charlie and Hannah are absolutely fucking loving life. Because when the girls were talking to Hannah about speaking to Charlie, she says, oh, we didn't get much talking done because his face was on mine. And I actually think she's quite funny. Like, see when she does his British accent, even though like, a British accent doesn't exist, it's English, right? But like, she says all these things and she is actually quite funny. But he says to her, oh, there's nobody like you where I live. Where is it he's from? Like Birmingham or Bristol or wherever it is. There's nobody like you where I live. Has he ever left his street? Anyway, he thinks she's amazing. Nick was in the diary room saying that he's attracted to Bella physically and Sarah sexually. And I just think Nick is a fucking skis bag. Obviously, he's way too young for me and I don't fancy him doing Love Island ever because they're all children compared to me. But I've been seeing so many videos of people being like, you know how like videos of him in slow motion and all that as if he's hot. And I just don't get it. Obviously, we've all got different taste. But even regardless of how he looks, even if I looked at him and thought, oh my fucking god, right? He is a fucking 11 out of 10. His personality's shit. You see him having a chat with Bella and she's like, oh, I want to know where you are. And he's like, oh, 50-50. Like, fucking make a decision. And then Sierra was saying, oh, like, I really respect the process that he's going through. Like, it's not easy, like, making this decision. And obviously try to be, like, this cool woman who's just accepting it, right? But I know that they're on Love Island and it's part of the game. But I really wish that one of them had just turned around and says, do you know what, actually, get to fuck. So they get a text and it's time for the boys to pick one of the girls. And I thought, I think I kind of know what's going on here. The only person that I don't know who's going to pick is Nick. But I was surprised. They already know there's going to be a recoupling, so when the presenter walks in, they're like, oh, like pure acting as if like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting you here. You know how the fucking game works. Anyway, Jeremiah obviously picked Huda. He was at me like saying all this really nice stuff about her. And in my mind, I thought people are going to be editing this to show you like Ace's face or whatever. Because people don't believe that he's being genuine. And at this point, I don't even fucking know. Taylor chose Olandria, obviously. Let me know, do you think there is sexual chemistry between the two or do you think it's just like best friends? Charlie chose Hannah. I actually think that they two really like each other. I know it's only been like a few hours, but there's something there. Ace had said in the diary room that he thought Amaya was really nice and fun and all the rest of it, right? But he got up there and he says that he was stressed out to the boys, but I still thought he's going to pick Shelley. Why would he not pick Shelley, right? Like, it was just so obvious to me. I could have bet my life savings on it. But he didn't. He picked Amaya. I actually went, shock. Shocked. And at this point, I know they're being autumn and Shelley's like totally cool and she's like, we're exploring, it's only 4 days in or whatever. But see, now I actually hope that Shelley says, you had your chance and actually get to fuck. Ace already knew that if he didn't pick Shelley, she was going to get picked by Austin anyway, so she wouldn't go to the villa, but that wasn't really the point. Even though we know that Austin didn't really want to pick Shelley, he still got up there and said a lot of nice things about her. It's not as if he made her feel second best. Then it was Ski's bag next turn, and I didn't know where he was going to be honest, but he was saying, oh, I really like this girl, we had a really nice moment. Poor Bella, she's standing there like, oh yeah, we had a really nice moment. And he says, in the photo booth. And her face just dropped and she's like, oh, fuck him. Fuck him. So then when she was packing her bag, he says, oh, can we have a chat? And she went away and spoke to him and gave him cuddles and all that. I'd have been like, no, I'm alright. I'm alright, bye. Tomorrow night, Sarah finds out that Nick kissed Bella. Let's be honest, she's not going to do anything about it. She's going to act raging and then she's going to be like, it's okay. You were still autumn and you were exploring. Let's kiss. Let me know what you thought of last night's episode and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.